my mouth.
No, what am I saying? What, this? It's nothing. Really, it's nothing, Ed. It's just, it's just Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Have a good time. Make sure your seatbelts are fastened.
Okay, you little bastards. The time has come. The moment we've all been waiting for. It's the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's get this bad boy rolling. Once again, it is the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Hello.
Hello to you.
Hello as well. We're back, because what else are we going to do, you know? So here we are. Find us online, thevocalminority.net. It's our website. But social medias, that's the hip happening place for all of us nowadays. So YouTube, TikTok, and Reddit, those are the biggest and the baddest for us.
That's a fact.
Yeah, that is a fact, dude. Go check us out. We've been having a lot of success just in recent hours on YouTube, so maybe YouTube's coming back into our life. All these social media platforms, as you know better than anyone, Steve, are just peaks and valleys and friends and foes. It's just an ever-changing world.
It definitely is. It's confusing as hell. One video does great on one side and not anything on another. And I keep seeing videos from experts that can tell you how to game the system. None of them know what they're talking about. So just post and see what happens. And that's what we do. So comment, like, share, and get vocal, because now is the time to be vocal, to remain vocal. And we definitely are minority on this show. So there you go.
Yeah, Steve pointed out last week on the podcast, our name, the Vocal Minority, has always meant a vocal minority, but it's taken on a new meaning since last Tuesday. So here we are, the Vocal Minority. When I keep slipping up as I'm talking to people, saying well, at least we know the majority of us are good people. And I catch myself every time. I'm like, no, dude, I can't say that anymore.
That has been the truth forever, where we could say, well, look, the popular vote, we always win. And most people in this country tip to the left. We've been saying that for years, and I thought it was true. It turns out it's not. So, yeah, we are in the minority. Granted, it's like 48% to 52%. It's a very slim majority-minority divide, but we are in the minority. So here we go.
It's not that big of a hill to climb, though. Happy Veterans Day. We record this show on Veterans Day, so I'm just saying Happy Veterans Week, for crying out loud, as we salute our veterans. I've had a lot of people in my circles and just people I watch saying I'm out like a trout, dude. I'm moving. I'm going to Canada. I'm going to Mexico. I'm like, no, dude, that's not how we do it. We stay right here. We stay right here and fight for what is ours and a better place that is ours. We don't leave.
I'm tempted to leave, but no, my stuff is here. My kids are here. It's a big effort to move. And by the way, yeah, Veterans Day, veto. I don't think any Americans, maybe the 48% of us get to celebrate Veterans Day, but the 52% of you that just voted for a guy who not only dodged the draft, but is called veterans suckers and losers and what's in it for them, you just voted for him, and then you're going to sit here and celebrate Veterans Day?
Yeah, that is, it's, once again, hypocrisy falls within your laps. You're right. Didn't even think about it, really. I hope all veterans are celebrated, but it's just a catchphrase to those 52% of people. You know what I mean? To show I'm a patriot. Yeah, veterans, America, red, white, and blue, farmers. They're just these catchphrases that paints a certain picture for the way people will see them. How you doing this week?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Well, no. Have you noticed any change from? Obviously, this is we're moving in a direction at all times. So last week, I was having a hard time getting myself off the floor, and you can make fun of that if you want to. But I was having a hard time getting motivated to even talk to people that I love. I just wanted alone time, and I'm getting to a better headspace now. That's what I mean. How are you doing this week?
Yeah, yin and yang, yo-yo, up and down. You know, I mean, I'm certainly having more moments of feeling invigorated or motivated to push forward and to right these wrongs down the road. But we're also in this fun little bubble right now where Biden's still in the White House. None of these things have become true yet. So we may all sit here and prognosticate in future trip about what's going to happen. But part of me thinks I'm erring on the side of like, it won't be as bad. But it's potentially going to be. So, yeah, I have these moments of feeling invigorated versus realizing the people I know in my life that are truly going to be directly affected by all this, including us. And that's miserably depressing. And then I kind of start to laugh of like, you know what? Fine. You lit the house on fire. I'm grabbing some marshmallows and going to enjoy the flames.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, we don't have any other choice, really. I said the same thing to Rachel. I was like, you know what? Last time he got in, there were all kinds of things that he said and talked about that he was going to do. And, I mean, they never came to fruition. And he didn't even try with them. Like, it was just to get this base riled up. And I said, we're going to have to see what those are this time. And, I mean, maybe they won't exist anymore. I don't know. So, could be good. Could be bad.
Promises made, promises kept, as Trump has said repeatedly in the last week or so. It's just, I keep seeing people saying that kind of stuff, though. Like, hey, it wasn't that bad last time, but people, all the guardrails are gone. He's going to control every branch of government, including the Supreme Court, who gave him essentially blanket immunity. I keep seeing people saying, the Constitution, this and that. Like, I don't think anyone truly understands that the guardrails are gone. Stop it. The Constitution will stop him. No, it won't. He can write an executive order, claim it's an official act, it's for national security, it's for whatever it is. He will enact his plans. And if you and I are lucky, years from now, some court will set it right. But that's assuming the Supreme Court would somehow vote against him ultimately, which it's comical to think that.
I said when the Supreme Court first made that decision that says, the president has immunity in the duty of, in the course of duty of being a president. I said, this is a sad day, dude. Do you have any idea how dangerous that is? And his comment to me was, it's always been that. They just kind of changed the wording a little bit, but it's always been that. I was like, no, it hasn't. And why would they just change the wording a little bit just for funsies?
Yeah. They may have clarified it slightly, but the clarification made it worse by saying, of course a president's not immune unless it's an official act. So then all the president has to do if they're going to break the law is just declare it's an official act. How could you ever impeach somebody? High crimes and misdemeanors? If it's an official act, it's neither of those.
Yeah. So, it's a dangerous thing. And I mean, obviously that's what us 48% are have been worried about. Like, God, that's why people are rolling around saying like, this is the most important vote you will ever make.
Yeah. I keep seeing people saying too, though, it's not going to be as bad. He's not going to do all of those things he said. I was debating deportation yesterday on one of our Reddit pages. Someone said basically, if you're an illegal alien, then you're here illegally. That's your fault. You should be deported. I said, all right, so what about people that were brought here as babies, as children? They have obviously no say in the matter. Well, come on. Trump's not going to deport them.
He already said it. He is.
Of course. And by the way, as I said to this person, how do you think somebody who was brought here as a child would prove that? There's no documentation. It's part of the definition of being an undocumented immigrant. Every immigrant would just say they were brought here as a baby then, if that was some get out of jail free card.
It'll be interesting, because for some time, the Dreamers have been a protected class and something that actually has existed. I can't remember if Trump tried to get rid of the Dreamers during his first term or if he actually did, and then it was reinstated. But he's talked about, either way, he's talked about wanting to get rid of that too. So, those are documented people that say, oh, yeah, we are Dreamers. We are the children of people who came over here. We know nothing different. And so, he wants to get rid of them too.
Yeah. Another funny one, someone was saying, someone commented, just wait for Trump. First he's going to deport the illegals that have broken crimes. Like those low-hanging fruit. No one can disagree with that. But as he works his way down the list is where it's going to get dangerous. And somebody mentioned, Trump's going to try to end birthright citizenship, meaning if you're born in America, you're automatically a citizen. And some other, precious Democrat chimed in and said, hey, that's in the Constitution. Presidents, need a 2/3 majority to override the Constitution. Like the Constitution will protect us.
Yeah.
So precious. It's so adorable. Do you think that's still true? All he has to do is write an executive order saying that birthright citizens pose a national security threat. He can deport them all, and the damage will be done when and if a court were to ever undo that, which is highly unlikely. The Supreme Court has already said that when it comes to national security, that a president should basically be able to do what they want because that's one of their biggest jobs. So if he declares that it's a security threat, they're not going to change it. Even if they did, it's years away. People are deported and gone by then.
Hey, we talked about on the podcast last week, you brought up the fact that Gavin Newsom put out an emergency hearing. And did you watch it? Did you listen to it?
Yeah, I've been following it. It's still precious on some levels because, yes, blue state governors can do some things to protect, but everything can be overridden by the feds if they want to.
And that was my question to you, because we have seen it traveling north into Oregon, into Washington. Our AG, Bob Ferguson, who just won governorship, put out a great press conference. He's got the new AG on his side as well. And if anybody doesn't know, Bob Ferguson sued Trump hundreds of times in his first, when he was president in 2016. He stated that, hey, you know what? We've been working in anticipation of this maybe happening for the last 7 months, and we are more prepared this time than we were last time. What you just said, that was my question. I don't completely understand how this is a safeguard other than maybe stretching time out.
Yes.
Is that the truth?
That's probably the main safeguard, yeah, is that it can stall, run the clock out a little. Conservatives are all about states' rights until some state like California goes against the feds, and then not so much. So I applaud, Newsom. I applaud any of these blue state governors who are going to try to do their best. And I hope they all team up. I hope maybe they can incrementally have some effect, but it's just a joke to think that Trump, with total control of the federal government and the Supreme Court, cannot undo anything that any state does. It's comical.
All right. Well, that's drab and depressing. You've given us no hope today, artists. Should
no hope.
We should just end the show now. You can't say there's no hope, dude. Why do we fight? Why do we why do we have accountability? We have no hope? You really feel that way?
There's no hope right now. All we can do is prepare for the midterms in 2 years, which for the next year and a half means rallying our base, because midterm elections usually don't get the center to show up. It's usually a base, vote. Democrats show up for the Dems, Repubs for their pubs. So we have to rally our troops for the next year and a half. We have to keep everyone engaged, motivated. We have to keep pointing all this stuff out. 3 to 6 months out from that election, we could start to maybe talk towards the center of the country a little bit. But no, right now it is batten down the hatches, sit back and watch, take notes, put a spotlight on everything that goes on. But if you think that there's something we can do right now or in January or come this summer, good luck to you. You may be able to put your finger in one hole in the dam, but the whole fucking thing's going to flood on you before this 2 years is up.
What about before January? Any hope before January?
God, if we were the Republicans, yes. We could stonewall and slow this whole process down for months or years. If Biden just went on an executive order frenzy, yeah, he could bog down the works. But as we keep talking about, we're in two different realities with our political parties. The Democrats are not going to play dirty. It would be awesome if Trump or if Biden resigned right now and make Kamala Harris the president. Let her run roughshod. Let her do all of these things she wants to do. And by the way, make all of Trump's 47 merchandise irrelevant. You'd have to reprint everything.
Yes.
Being the 48th president.
And we are that petty. We are that petty, ladies and gentlemen.
It'd be hilarious, but the Democrats are never going to do that. They're still institutionalists. They still respect the foundations of government, which we can get back to someday, but not in the next 2 years. It's just adorable that some people still think there are safeguards and guardrails in place.
And you know what? You would love to be wrong on this one, right?
Oh,
I mean,
please,
you don't. Yeah, please make Steve wrong on this one. I mean,
I kid you not. I mean, you talked about leaving the country. I haven't had that conversation, but Kennedy literally texted me this morning. He was like, "Hey, I'm looking at houses in California. Maybe we should move to California. At least we're slightly safer there." I just left California.
Yeah. I've been seeing it all over. Some of the groups I belong to online, they're international, but, a lot of people around the states, and they've been talking like I would give anything to move to Washington right now, anything to move to California, one of these blue states, because you just feel a little more protected. And Steve and I have been talking throughout all of last week, and I mean, we talk every day, but we've been talking about how emboldened people are. And I mean, I'm seeing it obviously not in person, but I'm seeing it online. I'm seeing people feel emboldened. But my wife, who works downtown, who travels, she has seen it firsthand. And I know that Kennedy has too.
Absolutely. I do feel like maybe there's a semblance of safety if you're in a blue state or a blue city, a liberal progressive city, Seattle, San Francisco. My kid's in Chicago now, and I do feel better knowing that they're at least in a liberal city.
Yeah.
It's not going to ultimately stop the flood, so.
No, we're just going to have to hold on tight and see what happens, dude. Stay diligent, stay prepared. They're giving facts, just like lists for everyone to get taken care of before he takes office. Like, get your passport. If your passport expires within 1 year, it's time to order a new one early in case there's any difficulties. There's just checklists that you can find on the net, and some of them I look at and that would be good. I should probably do that.
Yeah. Get an abortion this month. If you don't need one, just go ahead and sign up for one.
Women are talking about, hey, everybody that is pro-choice should be going to drugstores right now and buying as many Plan Bs as they possibly can and stocking up on them, and then letting the women in your life, if you're a man, just let them know. Like, we got you covered. If you need something, let us know.
That's probably not a terrible idea. So,
yeah.
All right, let's get into some news, because all of this is going to be riddled through everything we're talking about here. So.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
Steve Harness.
I just heard Paul Harvey roll over in his grave, by the way. So that's what I just heard.
Yeah.
For the state of democracy and journalism. Okay, so I don't know if you heard, but Trump won the election last week. And some women are upset about that. So have you heard about this 4B movement going on?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So Trump's election has women swearing off sex with men. It's called the 4B movement, and I have thoughts on this. Let's see here. This is from USA Today. They interviewed this woman named Ashley. She is, quote, done with dating men. And with the election of Donald Trump, more women say that they're done too. This is a 36-year-old entrepreneur. She says she's been part of the 4B movement for 2 years now. She was ahead of the curve, originating as a protest against misogyny and sexism in South Korea. The movement has 4 requirements for women to participate: no dating men, no marrying men, no sex with men, and no childbirth.
Yeah, you shut down all 4. Basically, you just do away with men unless you need help, lifting something that you can't lift, or something like that. Like, yeah. But no penis, okay?
Exactly. Following the results of the election, during which abortion became the sticking point for many voters, some women are encouraging others online to bring the movement here to America, which it is. I'm seeing it online for sure. I've been tagging it in some of our posts. The aim, advocates say, is to protest Trump and Republicans who tend to favor more restrictions on abortion than Democrats do. The 4B movement, by the way, I had to dig to find out what the hell that even means. Do you know?
I did read it. I had to dig to find it too, and I can't remember what it means, but yeah, I looked it up.
Yeah, no one will remember this because it means nothing. The 4B movement gets its name from from Korean words that all start with the letter B. By Han, heterosexual marriage; Bekushlan, childbirth; Biange, dating; and bisexua, sex. I'm sure I mispronounced all of those, but those are the 4 Korean words, all starting with B. Heterosexual marriage, childbirth, dating, and sex. So you join the movement by giving up on all of that.
Got to give it all up, though. You can't pick and choose. You got to give it all up. That's how you join the movement. And I don't know, I don't know, dude. What are your feelings on this? Because I can see both sides of the protest. I think it's kind of dumb, to be honest with you, and I may get slapped for saying that, but I just think, why would you want to alienate the good ones because you're trying to make a point? I get that. I don't know. Where do you stand? You like it? You hate it?
No, I think it's insanely dumb, short-sighted, and it really makes no sense. Now, I mean, first of all, why would you want to shoot yourself in the foot? Most women that I know that have a healthy relationship with sex, they enjoy it too. Why would you want to just cut something out of your life that is a nature-given stress relief, something you can enjoy? Why would you just eliminate that?
The thought I had when I started going over all this is I think they're saying that I don't think they're going to stop having sex. I think it's just going to be with women. And just, that's where we're leaning, dude. We got to stick together in every aspect.
So you're saying all these women are just going to choose to become lesbians all of a sudden?
Or not have sex. So you got to pick one or the other, right?
That makes no sense. When I first heard about this movement, I thought it was women who are dating mega men are now going to withhold sex to punish them. And my thought of that was, why don't you just end the relationship? Like, why are you dating a mega man then that is against all of your women's rights? But you're going to stay with them, but you're going to hold off on sex and blowjobs. Like, that makes no sense. But no, apparently this is a much bigger thing. Just no sex for men in general. So why would you punish us? Why would you punish the Democratic men who stood by your side?
Yeah.
You should be exclusively banging liberal men. That would be something to stick to the conservatives. If just every liberal, blue-blooded man in America was just getting tail left and right, that would stick it to the conservatives.
And I have seen some of that, like on TikTok and stuff like that. Some women coming out and being like, I am looking for a liberal man who voted for Kamala. That's what I find sexy now. And you know what? We've been sexy for a long time, ladies. We care about people. Sorry. I mean, maybe it's your thing to want a man who's like, yeah, I hate people, but I don't know. We've been sexy and doing the right thing for years.
Yeah. I mean, even before this election on the dating apps, this became a common thing. Like, if you're a Trumper, swipe right or whatever. Like, I don't want anything to do with you. Politics has already become a litmus test for dating. So I would think it should be even more so now. But should we be going the other way? I know you and I are both in committed relationships, but if I was single, should I be saying I'll never bang a conservative woman or any woman? I'm just going to stick it to all of you because the bunch of you let us all down? Should we all just be boycotting sex to screw each other over? That makes no sense.
Elon Musk's whole thing is, hey, we got to keep population of the world up at the rate we're heading, So I think part of it is the protest to that. Like, we're not going to be your people to recreate. We're not going to do this. We're not going to be told what to do. I understand the protest, the idea behind the protest. I don't think it's very feasible for long term.
Of course not. This is like, I remember an elementary school teacher told our class that if you guys ever end up babysitting for kids younger than you, and the baby tells you they're going to hold their breath until they pass out, and if you don't give me what I want, I'll hold my breath, tell them go ahead. Let them hold their breath because they can't sustain it.
They'll gasp for air at some point. It's just written in our DNA.
So that's what this sounds like to me. If you're a woman who can just truly swear off sex for the rest of your life, like, you got some issues going on your own. Go talk to a therapist because you can't hold your breath forever. If you have a good relationship with sex, you're going to want that at some point yourself.
Yeah. Dude, I like I said, I understand this protest. I saw a guy talking on a video earlier this week on TikTok, and he was like, my girlfriend is a survivor of SA, and she sexual assault. Yeah,
I think you're talking about Latinos. I'm sorry.
No, don't you think I'm loco? Listen,
listen, SA.
Listen, no, this is sexual assault. And he was saying, my girlfriend is a survivor of that. She now wonders, like, for a little extra cash, like, you guys don't mind that the person who sexually assaulted her, like, you would put him in a power position if he could save you a little money. The whole country has showed that to all these women. And as we know throughout the Me Too movement, that there was a lot of doors opening that I never would have thought, oh, she's a survivor of some sort of sexual assault. I mean, so many women in our lives open that door. So every woman has to be feeling like this. I understand why they want to protest this.
You would think every woman would be feeling like that. We literally just had a woman on our TikTok page. I mean, something mom is in her title. Her profile picture is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman. Like, how do they vote against their own self-interests like we've talked about? Do you not have a sister, a daughter? Do you not think it's crazy if someone wants to go grab you by the pussy now because our exalted leader, King Trump, has anointed that is a perfectly okay thing to do. As long as you have some celebrity status, I guess you can get away with it. Like, I don't get it at all.
Well, I mean, and think about this, like all this stuff we always talk about, like misogyny, racism, all that stuff is, that's taught to kids. And we're seeing that now with all the fathers out there, all the, the late 20s, early 30s that are feeling so emboldened. We're seeing kids start to mimic their frickin' behavior, dude. So this is real dangerous.
Yeah. There's someone in my life very close to me who's an educator and works in an elementary school. And she told me the most depressing story this week, that a second grade girl, ran up to her on the playground, screaming and crying, and said that these boys are yelling at me. The boys over there, they're yelling and screaming at me. And she said to this little girl, what did those boys say to you? Your body, my choice. Your body, my choice. Second grade boys were screaming that at a little girl. Where the hell do you think they got something like that from? And the problem is it's a long list. Brothers, fathers, other kids, the internet. This is what we just emboldened. This is what we just voted for. A world where little fucking boys like that are now harassing a little girl, saying, your body, my choice.
Yeah. And it's happening everywhere. It's not the only thing that's happening. You heard about all these texts going out to black people of all ages, even young kids, that basically read something, you've been selected to be a cotton picker. The van will be to pick you up at blah, blah, blah. You make 30 cents an hour. Like, these are the things that are going around, and kids are seeing them. Kids feeling it on both sides. Like, they learned that from somebody in their life.
Maybe the president of the United States. I mean, this is the problem. Yeah. This is what we have emboldened and brought out. We talked last week about, the LGBT community seeing a spike in suicide prevention calls and just feeling distraught, and actual suicide numbers starting to go up. I mean, it isn't necessarily just about laws that may be passed or rights that may be taken away. The emboldening of harassment in this country, of gay kids getting beat up in a back alley, of little girls being harassed by little boys, who these little boys now think they're the ones in charge because that's what they have learned from their brothers, their fathers, whoever the hell is teaching them this stuff. Like, all of this is off the charts, and it's immeasurable to some extent what has been emboldened in this country and what the fallout from that will be.
Well, look, dude, we saw it in 2016 when guys, I won't call them men, walked out of the forest with tiki torches. We saw all this emboldened bullshit in 2016. And like we've talked about on the podcast, there has been such a large population, myself included, where I have become numb to part of that. Like, it seems like it was so long ago that we've forgotten about it. And here we are thinking this is something new. This already happened once. It's just amplified this time.
It's significantly amplified. That's the problem.
Yeah.
This is version 2.0. This is everyone seeing exactly what we were going to get and voting for it anyway. That's why it is so much more dangerous the second time. He doesn't have a re-election to worry about, and he just got a mandate from the country that whatever it is you're up to and been doing, laws you've broken, hateful things you've said, we're all A-okay with it.
If promises made, promises kept, you realize that supposedly on day one, all those insurrectionists of January 6th will be pardoned and let out. Like, those are, I know you guys don't like it when we call you garbage or talk down to you, but those people in that prison, those people in that jail, those are the scum of the earth, and we're just going to let them back out into the population.
Because they're patriots, Nick. They're heroes. And it's hard for us in the minority now to argue that that isn't true. If the majority of you think that they're patriots, then I guess they are in some universe, being this universe right here.
Right. The one that we're being forced to try and figure out mentally is just, this is unbelievable to me.
Yeah. So, yes, the January 6th stuff. And, I'll just skip to my next article here real quick, and then I'll throw it over to you. But the other thing, Project 2025, we've been talking about it for months, saying that this is what their plan is, to gut government, to not only cut spending left and right, but to install loyalists in all these institutions. Again, I keep hearing people saying, well, I don't think the head of the CIA will do this, or I don't think some military general will let this happen. That's the case. They're going to be fired and will be replaced with somebody who will do these things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And for months now, all of the mega types have been denying Project 2025. We don't know what that is. Never heard of it. Nothing to do with us. Not what we're running on. What did we see as soon as the election went to Trump's side last week?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been coming out like, now that Trump is, president-elect, we could admit Project 2025. Yeah, that was a real thing. We're going to change the branding a little bit on it, but yeah, the manual. Yeah, we've been planning that for a long time.
All of these mega talking heads, all of these, conservative influencers, they've all been coming out this past week laughing at you people that, of course, we knew what Project 2020, of course, that was the plan. You believed us? You thought we didn't have anything to do with it? Ha ha, here we go. All the mega types are coming out and saying that, yeah, joke's on you. Quote here from Matt Walsh, who's been getting a lot of press, says, quote, now that the election is over, I think we can finally say that, yeah, actually Project 2025 is the agenda. LOL. Steve Bannon, newly released from prison on his podcast, sang his praises, saying we should all amplify that message.
Yeah, got to get it out. If you recall, J.D. Vance wrote the foreword, dude. I mean, the fact that you ever believed for a minute, and I don't think you did really believe that they had no knowledge, nothing to do with it. Like, it was so obvious with all the people that he is very close to, they're a part of this. Like, there was secret video of the main creator of it all talking to somebody who, a potential donor about it. And yeah, Trump knows. I mean, he'll be able to admit that obviously after he's elected. But yeah, you dum-dums.
There was a picture of the head of the Heritage Foundation on Trump's private plane with him recently. And Trump is saying the praises of the Heritage Foundation for helping him pick all of his conservative judges and whatnot. But I don't know. Let me just ask you a little quick question here.
Please.
What is going on? Why did we lose? I refuse to go to this whole, it's the economy or something. Like, none of these facts matter. I think there's something much bigger going on, and I've seen a lot of liberals like, geez, were we wrong? Should we redo our entire stance, our entire party?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that, a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking going on. But you know what? I don't know. I felt like as I was going through Kamala's she was on fire, dude. Her campaign seemed to be very, very good to me. The only thing I could criticize is that she may have talked about herself and what she was going to be doing a little more and a little less of Trump, but I don't even know that that's right.
Here's my theory. The two W's. The two W's are why we lost this election. Woke and women. Okay? And I'm not talking about the women voters. I'm talking about, like we mentioned last week, there's apparently some institutional sexism still built in this country that will cost any woman running for president 2 percentage points off the total vote. And this was such a close race that those 2 percentage points put Kamala in the negative. And the other thing, the woke. There are people in this country that, for whatever reason, whether they're right or wrong, have been convinced that wokeism is a terrible thing. Progressiveness, being inclusive of gay people and minorities, all this stuff. There is a backlash to being woke going on out there. It is a culture war. It is not about the economy or any other institutionalized, platform or anything like that. It is a culture war. And the wrong side just won. Because enough people down the middle said, you know what, I am kind of sick of hearing about transgender rights and Dylan Mulvaney and what's with these women in sports that are really men. Like, that is why we lost. Woke and women.
The Democrats weren't talking about that shit, dude. When, our transgender community, obviously we want the rights to stand of our transgender community, but we didn't bring it up. Transgender community is like 1 to 2% of this entire landscape we call a country. Yes. We weren't talking about it. The only way we were talking about it was to defend it. We weren't bringing it up.
No, they always say we're shoving it down their throats, which, has never really been the case. It's defending people, as liberals often do. But it's a red herring. It's a canard. It's a straw man argument. They have taken something, like you just said, it's like affects a infinitesimal fraction of us and have blown it up into this culture war thing and have scared the hell out of people with it. Yeah. And it worked. Fear is how MAGA won this election.
Yeah, I do believe that. I believe that because I've seen it in older people. I've seen it in everybody, dude. I mean, it worked. The way that they talk about crime, the way that they don't even pay attention to any of the actual statistics and just make up this whole story for you guys on how America is turned into a garbage can. We're more unsafe now. We're not going to have any jobs. I mean, it worked. You're right.
Yeah, it's facts versus feelings, and their scaredy cat feelings won. So we got to push back against the fear. And unfortunately, we need to run a man next time. Sorry, doesn't have to be a white guy, but it has to be a guy.
Can it be a white woman?
No.
Just
That's
asking,
adorable.
Dude, for conversation. I'm just asking.
Hillary Clinton was a very white woman, and she suffered the same 2-point loss. She had a couple more above and beyond that because of the branding and the FBI investigation and all that crap. But no, I don't think it can be a white woman. I think it's got to be a man. I don't like that is what it has to be, but we have got to take the reins back in 4 years, or we are going to lose our culture, our society. Everyone will just throw in the towel and give up. So the next 2 and 4 years, midterm election and the next presidential, that's what it's all about.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to be a man. Hey, by the way, BT Dubs, that's not our fault. Like, that is all the middle-aged women who voted for Trump. Like, that's your fault, dude, that you wouldn't vote for a woman.
Yes. It's a sign of the times. I would love to elect a, gay minority woman, but we have got to win this culture war. We have got to take the reins back. We at least have to get 1 or 2 of the houses under our control. We have to be able to slow things down. So when you want to win a national election, you have to put the strongest candidate up. And unfortunately, next time, baseline number 1, strongest candidate, it's going to be a man. We got to get rural Pennsylvania back on our side. Wisconsin, rural Michigan. They feel okay about voting for a dude. They do not feel okay about voting for a woman, especially a minority woman.
Did you hear about this whole thing with Elon Musk talking about one of the great things that happened in Pennsylvania is that they got the Amish vote? Because a couple of years ago, the government had raided a couple of the Amish farms to see if they were using chemicals and stuff like that. And they were pissed off about it. And the Republicans very wisely went to the Amish and said, if you don't want to have to deal with that stuff anymore, come and vote for this guy. And they did in droves.
Interesting. Well, fuck the Amish. I know they're not watching us, so I will just say that.
Let's move.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know.
Oh, Steve. As hey, by the way, welcome to the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. Thanks for joining the podcast. As I was going over some news stuff today, I didn't know what to pick. I didn't know what was going to get people more depressed when they were starting to feel a little uplifted. But I got to give this one to you because I need your opinion on this. When we first started following the Trump campaign, Kid Rock has been an issue for us for a long time. We hate Kid Rock. I mean, I hated him before he did all that shit, but we hate Kid Rock around here. Well, Kid Rock decided to come out and make a video after Trump's win. And you may be thinking to yourself, oh, well, yeah, of course he did. He came out to boast, right? Well, he came out to do a couple of different things. He was silent for the first, 10 seconds of the video, which was him walking out in his garb. You know, he had red track pants on and a bucket hat and everything. It walks out, flips the camera off, and then chugs on his nuts and walks away. Okay. Yeah. Then he walks back out and, he's, what's his name? Bob
Ritchie.
Bob Ritchie. He's, got a nice little jean shorts on, looks like a moderate guy. And he had this to say to America.
First off, let me convey to my family, friends, and supporters that now is not the time to gloat. We must remember that most of our left-leaning friends are good people who want the same things in life as we do, but simply think differently on how to get there. It is now time to be the bigger man.
All right, dude. What are your thoughts? Because I heard this and I was like, oh, I wonder what Steve will think about that. Do we take his olive branch or do we stick his olive branch up his booty hole?
Boy, I have a few thoughts on it, quite frankly. One, he is saying what I begged Trump to do a week ago, that you're in a position to unify the country, to bring us all together, to be one of the greats. Of course, Trump is not going to do that. So to hear that Kid Rock is trying to be a voice of reason, yeah, that makes my brain boggle just a little bit, to say the least. Yeah. I also feel like he's got some tickets to sell to an upcoming concert series, and he knows that some liberals liked him and want them back. Like, hey, now the election's over, you guys can come to my concerts again, right?
Okay.
But this whole Kid Rock versus Bob Ritchie coming out shows you what an act it is. That he is literally two different personalities, public and private. The Kid Rock's been out there trying to wild up the mega people and get everyone fist in the air, but the real guy, Bob Ritchie, is like, hey, guys, actually, this is getting a little out of control. Like, can none of us see how bad this is? And
isn't that funny, dude? It's his brand. It's his brand.
Right. But the human in him is like, boy, this is getting a little out of control. So now that we won, maybe we should all dial this back. And he's not getting a warm reception online from the megatypes for saying that.
Which, are you kidding me? That just goes to show where their heads are at. All these, I've been telling people for a long time, this group of MAGAs, this is a WWE, event. This is professional wrestling to them. They love the event side of this, the battle, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, like back and forth. Like, this is all bullshit to them.
Yeah.
And so for Kid Rock to come out and they're like, no way, screw you. You're either with us or you're against us. Full stock.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. He articulates that it is like WWE. He's got a shtick, a public performance, a costume he puts on, a character he plays. But behind closed doors, he's actually not that, and has seen that it's gone too far. He said in a Rolling Stone interview earlier this year, he said that, you know what, I'm part of the problem. I'm one of those polarizing people, no question. Sometimes I bitch about other people, like us, vocal minority, but then I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh yeah, why don't you shut the fuck up too? Like, at least Bob Ritchie has some level of self-awareness to realize that he is part of the problem.
No, I wonder if Trump will be done with him. You know, I mean, he hasn't been playing at his rallies or anything. He's been sticking with YMCA. But, you know, yeah, that's such a good point, dude, that is his character, and that's exactly what it shows. There are people in Hollywood. You always say, like, the MAGA always talks about the Hollywood elites. Like, those people don't even have an idea of, you know, what real life is like. They haven't been to the grocery store in years, that kind of shit. There are Hollywood people who are MAGA type, and I have been completely turned off from them because I don't see it as a character, dude. When you see movie actors like Mel Gibson, these different people, you know who they are. When you see them talking about this in their personal life, it's hard for me to then watch them as a character because I know who they really are. This kind of, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm endeared to Kid Rock, but this helps a little bit just to be like, oh, thank you for showing us behind the curtain a little bit.
Yes. He deserves some level of credit for at least making this somewhat of an olive branch and an honest admission. So, you know, kudos, but it's not going to go over well and probably won't serve him well. And yeah, like, you know, when Dr. Phil gave his endorsement of Trump, Dr. Phil stood up there and was like, I know you don't want to hear what some celebrity thinks. You're a celebrity, Dr. Phil, and you're endorsing a celebrity, Donald Trump. So,
yes.
Like, I don't ever accept that. Like, everyone in America, I don't care if you're a musician, an actor, or whatever, all of us are obviously entitled to our opinions. What do we do with it, you know? Nick Bosa from the 49ers just got himself fined for, you know, showing his MAGA hat off during the game. Like,
right.
You know, everyone's entitled to your political parties and your opinions, and I don't want to do this I hate Taylor Swift thing just because she's, you know, on the other side, but depends what you do with it. And Nick Bosa was trying to be an idiot and, you know, give Trump a free commercial after a primetime football game.
Right.
So he deserved to get fined, but sure, he's got every right to vote for who he wants to vote for. He's not in a position of authority, so, you know.
Yeah. How about, you know, all the people that are canceling things? I'm sure you've seen it going around. That people are showing which companies out there gave money to the Trump campaign and which companies did not, because they want people to be canceled, dude. How do you feel about Marvel? Will you continue to watch Marvel movies knowing that Marvel gave a lot of money to Trump?
Marvel did not. Here's the difference, okay? Because this happened with Netflix, you know, a couple of months back, where the head of Netflix gave a bunch of money to Kamala, so all the conservatives were saying to cancel him. Okay, Elon Musk is a billionaire. He owns a platform. He's giving money to Trump, and he is publicly speaking out for Trump against Kamala Harris. That's the part that I will call on boycotting, you know, an Elon Musk product. It's why I will put my money where my mouth is. I won't buy a Tesla. I'm not flying to Mars on his spaceship, and I'm not doing Starlink. But if Elon Musk, just as a private citizen who had a bunch of money, donated to a campaign and then shut the hell up, then that is completely his business. So who are you trying to point out at Marvel? Because I have not heard anyone from Marvel out on any sort of campaign trail, donating to, you know, publicly, like making a big deal out of it like Chick-fil-A did. It's a difference between what you do publicly versus privately. So what are you referencing?
Well, will you watch, okay, if there are Marvel stars that have endorsed Trump, will you continue to watch them? Like Zachary Levi, do you know who that is?
First of all, he's DC. That movie sucked, and he's an idiot. So no, I wouldn't watch any of it.
This talks about Marvel and DC stars, okay? So, but listen, so if one of the characters is a Trump supporter, then you won't watch his movie?
The character?
Yeah, one of the actors, you know.
No, I'm not saying that. Listen, it depends who and what you are done with it. If Robert Downey Jr. Or Chris Evans or any of these big Marvel stars were out there campaigning for Trump, singing his praises, donating to hate groups and whatnot, then yeah, it would give me pause for sure. But who's on that list? I'm not aware of anyone.
Well, I just told you, dude, who's on there.
DC sucks. That Shazam movie sucked. I was boycotting that before anything. That was a terrible friggin' movie. But so you're trying to ask me what if. So what if Robert Downey Jr. came out and was a big guy? Again, if that was just his opinion, I'm still going to watch the 49ers, even though Nick Bosa is apparently a big MAGA type. And but Robert Downey Jr., an actor, like, you would have to do something pretty egregious for me to boycott the entire movie franchise based on the actor's personal opinion.
Okay. Now let's move over to Home Depot gave a ton of money to the Trump campaign. Will you shop at Home Depot? Okay, True Value and Home Depot gave money to the Trump campaign. Lowe's decided not to. Like, will you make that choice? Are you hitting people in the pocketbook?
You know, listen, if I have the choice between Lowe's and Home Depot, maybe I'll go to Lowe's. But again, I don't hear a big public facade of Home Depot supporting MAGA. Just because somebody that works there or owns it donated money privately, have they made themselves the public face of MAGA, like an Elon Musk has, like a Kevin Sorbo has, or like a Kid Rock did, something like. There's a huge difference between just donating to a campaign and publicly making a big stink out of it all.
Chick-fil-A is a great example because obviously they donated a ton of money to the Trump campaign, but they've also come out against the LGBTQ plus community. So that's what you're saying. That's the difference?
Yes. That wasn't the owner just writing a check and keeping his mouth shut. They've made it very publicly known that they are supporting those anti-gay causes, giving money to them. So that's where I can draw the line.
Hobby Lobby, same type of deal. Like, okay, I see where your head's at. It was an honest question, dude. I respect your opinion.
And I've been asked it before because the head of Wendy's apparently has donated to Trump and whatnot.
Yeah.
But again, I don't see him doing press conferences like the MyPillow guy or something. Like, he's not making himself a public entity, a public face of that. It's when you cross that line that I can then, I'm not going to call to cancel you, by the way, but I will put my money where my mouth is. And I may tell other people, like, hey, screw Chick-fil-A, man. Like, I'm not going to eat there. You do what you want to do. But to actually say cancel Chick-fil-A for having a political opinion, no, that's a bridge too far.
Yeah, if enough people want to cancel them, they'll be canceled, right?
That's just a free market. That is not cancel culture.
That's right. Are we canceling Family Ties? All the reruns I watch of Family Ties, and do I cancel Family Ties now based off what Justine Bateman has decided to take to the streets and do?
I thought you were referencing Alex P. Keaton being a devout Republican back in the TV show days. So, what is Justine Bateman? Again, alive still? But what is she about?
Okay, well, here's what you need to know about Justine Bateman. Okay, she played Mallory on Family Ties, and she's done some other shit, but that was her big role. And she's Jason Bateman's sister, for those of you who don't know. She came out and posted on X.
So Justine posted that she's excited that Trump won because she's been walking on eggshells for the past 4 years because she can't be racist and homophobic without getting canceled. I'm not kidding. She posted this on Instagram and she knew it was going to be bad because she turned off the comments, but not before some comments snuck in. Then down here I noticed a blue check. Amen. Amen, sister. Who's Reed Morano? Well, get ready. Reed Morano is the executive producer and director of The Handmaid's Tale. The Handmaid's Tale. One more time, The Handmaid's Tale.
Right, dude, it is The Handmaid's Tale. So she came out. So, I mean, she is spouting rhetoric, something we don't want to be around. So do we cancel her or do we cancel Family Ties? That's my question.
This is kind of like saying, do we cancel Kevin Sorbo or not for being a big Trump supporter? I've told that guy on Twitter so many times, like, hey, you know what? Kamala Harris will be on TV tonight. You know who's not going to be? Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah.
Already been canceled by life. Justine Bateman, I mean, come on. She canceled herself, her society did. Like, everyone moved on from her eons ago. So that, I don't know, that doesn't even seem like something cancelable.
You don't think she can get any lower than she is?
No, I mean, what would I cancel? Not watching reruns on Nick at Night of Family Ties?
Dude, I watch Family Ties to this day, and I'm wondering, it's an honest question. Should I cancel it?
No, I think you're okay. I think Skippy balances that out. Skippy's a good dude, so you can support that.
And we know Alex P. Keaton. I mean, he played a Republican on the show, but we know he's a good dude, right? We love Michael J. Fox. So.
Michael J. Fox, good dude. Alex P. Keaton. But again, though, he was a Republican during the Reagan days, back in the good old, like, we could agree to disagree. They were financially, conservative and social, blah, blah, blah. That has all moved on. Would Alex P. Keaton be a MAGA nowadays? Ooh.
No, No.
I don't think so.
No, he's
I
got
don't think
two.
Steve and Elise would put up with that for a second.
No, you're right, dude. I don't even think Nick, Mallory's boyfriend, would have put up with that shit.
This is the only news you need to know. After all, this is Need to Know News. News you need to know. Nuff said.
Hi, Stephen. This is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I got to just bust through a couple of stories because we're running low on time here.
Do it.
Have you heard people saying that Trump won in a landslide?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't. Just so you know, historically speaking, his win ranks in the bottom 50% of historic landslides and doesn't even come close in any sort of modern day equivalent of that.
That's not gauged by the number of votes, right?
No, I'm talking about electoral college. Because
Okay.
obviously the population has gone up over the last 10, 20, 50, 100 years.
Sure.
So, you could argue that anyways. But turnout was slightly lower than 2020. And yeah, he won the popular vote. It looks like he's going to. But it's a solid win, but it is in the lower half of all U.S. presidential elections. Reagan had a true landslide. He won with 525 electoral votes versus Trump's 300 something. So listen, it's a mandate. He won, okay, but don't fall for this like this was some blowout, historic, epic landslide. Literally, it's in the bottom half of any presidential election. And again, we're talking 48% versus 52% vote-wise. So, okay.
You know he'll be saying that. Biggest ever.
Oh, yeah.
No one's ever seen numbers like this before.
He does have a mandate, but it was not a landslide. So let's keep a little perspective there.
All right.
Trump did announce today who his new border czar is going to be, Tom Homan, who used to be Trump's dude and ICE and whatnot. So now he's going to head up this whole mass deportation thing. There's a funny quote that someone asked him about, first of all, you guys doing this? Really? Seriously? And he was like, oh, yes, we're absolutely doing this. But someone asked him, can you do mass deportations without family separations, without breaking up the kids from the parents, from the grandparents? Do you know what his answer was?
No, we cannot.
Oh, he said, no, we can do it without separating families. We'll deport the whole family altogether.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's what I thought that he said, that we'll deport everybody. Dude.
Yeah. Oh, we're not going to split up mom and dad from grandma and the kid. No. We're just going to deport the whole freaking family at once.
If one goes back, we all go back.
Right.
And I don't want anyone to mistake our laughing as that we think it's funny in any way. We're laughing at the absurdity of this. Like, this is crazy, dude, and this is what they voted for.
Yes, exactly. And that's the problem. This is what everyone has voted for. So sit back and watch the dumpster fire. And Neil Katyal, former Solicitor General, he's a regular on MSNBC. You know Neil Katyal, right?
Yes, I do.
He has been one of many talking heads I've seen on MSNBC in the past week. I was watching Jeremy Bash today on Nicole Wallace's show, just saying hey, guys, there's still guardrails. We got the Constitution and even conservative judges. I don't think they're going to let any of this stuff happen. As we started out talking on the show, Neil Katyal, Bash, all you people, you're delusional. Those guardrails are gone. Executive orders, blanket immunity from the Supreme Court. Stop it already. Stop trying to hold on to this little thread that we still have guardrails. We all just need to accept it, that they're gone. We have elected a king. I plan on calling him King Trump from now on because that is what we have elected. We have given him complete authority.
I won't be calling him that. I can't do it. I understand the sentiment. But, if you think about last time Ivanka had some stupid position in the White House on his administration, the good thing about Ivanka being there was she is the one person that seems to be able to tell him some things and calm him down in some ways. And she's already told us, no, I'm not anywhere near the White House for this term. I want nothing to do with it. So we don't even have a family member who's not going to be riling him up and calming him down.
No, but we just got to I think it will help liberals if we try to get over this notion that there are some normalcies going on, some restraints in place. People, the plane is crashing. Just watch it crash, and then we can step in and try to pick up the pieces. But in the meantime, don't give yourself false hope thinking that there's some sort of guardrails in place. There's not.
You don't think that delusion is healthy at all for people? You know, like some people need a glimmer of hope, whether it is fantasy or comes true.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I've told a few liberals, enjoy through the holiday season because, you know, society will still keep functioning through the holidays. But into January, they are riled up to hit the ground running on day one. Things are going to go off the rails quickly, and stop trying to hold on to any notion that you can stop it. The White House, the Senate, the House of Representatives, the Supreme Court, it is total control. There are no guardrails, and it would take years to adjudicate any of it. All of the damage will be done by then. So we just...
God! No! God, please, no! No!
Dude, that cannot be. You sound like you could go work for Fox News right now. You are riling up people to a degree of anxiety.
I'm trying to brace everyone for reality.
You're
I mean, do you
truth-teller.
want your doctor telling you, like, gee, you got terminal cancer. You could live 5 years. You're probably only going to live 6 months. Like, do you want him by 5 years, though? Technically, it's possible you could live 5 years. Or should I be honest with you and say 6 months if you're lucky? Get your affairs in order.
Yeah. No, someone's got to be bad cop, dude. You could do it because it makes me nervous, okay? So you're better at delivering the bad news to the kids. No vacation. No vacation this year, kiddos.
Again, we have to keep accountability. We have to put a spotlight on all this stuff. But stop holding on to the fact that the election was somehow rigged, or that the guardrails will hold, or that some adult will be in the room to stop Trump like they did the first 4 years. That is all done and over. Just stop fooling yourselves.
Wow. I'm in trouble. I think I'm in real trouble here.
Yes, you
because I don't, you know, I don't. I think Rachel would agree with you in the way you're telling this story, and I get it, dude. But I can't listen to the story like that. I just can't. I cannot mentally survive if I hear the story told in the way you're telling it.
Okay, everything's be fine. We did not elect a king with no accountability that can do whatever they want, and who just got out of one solid criminal conviction with 3 more to come. And by the way, like that video we posted about Trump getting off scot-free from all of his crimes and not going to jail.
Yeah.
So many people commented, like, those were all rigged. He was never going to go to jail. Like, well, if they were rigged, then definitely we were going to send him to jail if we rigged it.
Yeah.
Or they were just actually fair court cases, which he was found guilty by a jury of his peers. And of course he was going to go to jail. He was going to go to jail, I promise you. But now he is not. There is no accountability. The ship has sailed. He is King Trump. Accept it.
No, dude. Here's a deal you got to make with me. Before you talk to me this way, you got to at least rub my back while you're telling me this. Like, you know, I need some comfort in some of this.
No Vaseline right now, buddy. I'm sorry. This is time for a cold, hard truth. Okay.
Oh, no. All right. Well,
That's all I got for you.
All right. You have to leave on a high note. Are we out of time?
Yeah, pretty much. Get your vaccines filled and fill some antidepressants too. That can hurt before all this becomes irreversible.
We're going back to pandemic days of drinking. You know, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. We're going to start drinking early.
Right.
All right. Well, see our webpage, see all our social medias. You can call our comment line as well.
Yeah, we got one. 844-48-VOCAL until we end up in a gulag. So enjoy the show and find us on the social media sites, TikTok, YouTube, Reddit. Those are the best. We're also on Instagram, Threads, Twitter for some stupid reason, and something else, I'm sure.
We're on the good one. So, yeah, thanks for downloading the podcast, and we will see you next time.
Hello, my mini champions. It's your favorite old bag, Betty White. This has been a production of The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. New podcasts are released twice a week. Don't forget to watch The Golden Girls wherever great TV is watched.
It's wonderful.